We're here with Charleson Bell. He's a research assistant professor at Vanderbilt University and the director of entrepreneurship, biomedical innovation, and I-Corps at the Wondry, which is Vandy's Innovation and Design Center. Thanks so much for joining us here today, Charleson.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Good to be on grounds.
Well, a couple quick questions for you. For those who may not be that familiar with the I-Corps program, can you tell us a little bit about its mission?
Yeah, so what the I-Corps program does is it transforms innovators into entrepreneurs so that we can take deep technologies from the lab, from the university, and translate them into the market to create positive value change, which is the definition of innovation, to stimulate the economy, create jobs, and make the United States more competitive on the global scale. And so that addresses all the different levels, from you wanting to have an impact on the world as an innovator, as an entrepreneur, or as a researcher, all the way up to how universities can work together to create inclusive innovation ecosystems across our region.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So what are some of the major benefits for faculty and students who participate in the regional I-Corps program?
Absolutely. Well, when you go through the regional program, it's all about changing your mindset. So let's just say you're a faculty member, you're really deep in your research, you're really well informed, and you know all of the literature and all the background information about your particular field. The one thing you need to learn about if you're trying to make an impact in the world or in the market is to understand the needs and the challenges of the people you hope to serve. That is your customer. Mm-hmm. And in order to do that, in order to understand what your customer is thinking, what they're feeling, their behavior, their psychographics, is you have to go out and you have to talk to them. You have to have conversations. We teach you how to do that. Go out there and find that evidence so that as you're building out your products, as you're building out your business model, you are basing it off of the evidence that you're collecting from the people you will actually serve and deliver value to. Mm-hmm. That is the core crux of all the I-Corps principles that we teach, and that's what you get from joining the regional program. There's two huge outcomes of I-Corps. There's the downstream outcome where you could start a company, you could license your technology, you could make that impact in the world. But then there's the upstream. And by upstream, I mean when you're conceptualizing your research questions, or when you're thinking about what's the next step in my research program, you have this new bevy of evidence to pull from,
right,
to be able to conceptualize research and technologies that solve real needs in the world. And all of that begins with your regional I-Corps program.
That kind of dovetails into my next question. I was going to ask you, how have your experiences that you've had personally as an entrepreneur, influenced the way you're leading I-Corps?
Absolutely. So I'll try to give you the long and short of it. I'm actually the first graduate student in Vanderbilt history to raise venture capital for a startup while in school. And so I put my PhD on hold. I went to Memphis, Tennessee, where I built out the operations of the business, built a laboratory, got the feasibility studies completed, and then went to San Francisco. And in San Francisco, that's where I truly got to experience what an innovation ecosystem really feels like. What is it like being there? And so when I came back to join the faculty at Vanderbilt and be able to build out a research program, that's when I was introduced to I-Corps. And throughout my entire entrepreneurial journey, I was great at operations, great at doing the research, great at meeting people, but the one thing I didn't super focus on was the precise evidence behind the customer needs. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden there's this program that you can take to teach you the innovation processes necessary to really pull out, understand, and operationalize your activities on that new understanding based on that evidence. Mm-hmm. And so I-Corps changed my entire trajectory around how I thought about entrepreneurship, how I thought about innovation. And once I had that enlightened moment, I wanted to find a way to create that enlightened moment for a ton of other people, because everyone has the capability to make an impact, especially if you've got the university support, you've got the training, and even if you're just a member of the community, you have it within you to make that sort of impact. And we as a region have the resources, the tools, and the people necessary to create our own inclusive innovation ecosystem. And we can do that with I-Corps as a starting point.
That's awesome. And you mentioned at the top, you're here on grounds, obviously.
I'm on grounds.
Since you're on grounds, what does this partnership with the University of Virginia mean to the Mid-South Hub?
It means a lot. One of the things that I always say is I function off a hypothesis that says, if you're trying to create an innovation ecosystem in a region like this, with the history that we have, with the geography that we have, with the people that we have, we've got to do it together. We can't just rely on organic agglomeration, things just coming together. We have to engineer the agglomeration. We have to be intentional about it. And UVA has that specific set of strengths that make you all an extremely strong partner as a collective, like inside of the hub. And so happy to be partners with UVA, so happy to have you on the team, and so happy to have you all as a part of our mission to create that inclusive innovation ecosystem in the Mid-South.
Well, thank you so much, Charleson, for taking the time to join us here today. We really appreciate it, and have a good rest of the time here in Charlottesville, and maybe we'll see you in Nashville soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.